Is this the setup you guys were using when I kept texting you that one time?
It is, yeah. Yeah.
It's like looking into the sun.
It seems especially bright and glary today.
We went and saw Aloha.
And goddamn, that was a mess of a movie.
I have dubbed it in my mind, people saying their feelings out loud to a douchebag, the movie.
Yeah. A lot of Cameron Crowe movies deal with, like, the protagonist being a bit of an asshole, and then finding redemption through love and cute kids and shit like this, and you can feel that it definitely felt like a Cameron Crowe movie, but it was easily the worst movie he has ever made.
I've heard he did We Bought a Zoo.
He did. You know what? That movie, terrible title, very watchable.
Okay.
Not a great movie, but watchable.
Okay, well, you say that in a lot of his movies the protagonist is a douchebag. Do the rest of the characters spend the entire time telling him he's a douchebag and what specifically about his personality makes him a douchebag and what he can do to redeem himself? Because that was 85% of this movie. The other 15% was nuclear warheads.
Yeah, not necessarily telling him outright that he's a douchebag, but it's always like a flawed individual who has a chance of redemption, which this definitely had.
Yeah.
But this movie, it was like, take everything from a Cameron Crowe movie that at this point you could call a Cameron Crowe cliche, and then mix that in with some other stuff that, like, the Secret Love Child, and then satellites with missiles, somebody with, like, a plan to have nuclear bombs in space, a villain, like a straight up villain who's not fleshed out in any way, and then also throw in some weird metaphysical, like, Hawaiian folklore
allegory,
and some political issues that, even as an American, like, part of me was like, is this true? Do I not know about this? Should I be ashamed as an American that I don't know about this kind of history of Hawaii, and just weird military stuff that, like, this movie had a whole lot of plots that all of them, not a single one, had any form of satisfactory backstory to make them make sense to an average person.
Let's start from the beginning. I'm sure if you've been to the movies recently, you've seen a preview for this, Aloha, and the preview puts every single clip in it out of order and paints a sort of picture of, like, a guy who fucked up in the military and goes to Hawaii and finds redemption by seeking employ with kooky millionaire Bill Murray, and along the way gets in an adorable relationship with Emma Stone. That's not what this movie is about at all.
No.
What happens is it's this guy who was in the military and then went civilian contractor for a while and fucked up somehow.
Oh my God!
And so he's gotten hired back again by the con. He got fired because his knees got broken. I'm not sure.
No. What happened, I guess, was he was working for Bill Murray's character, who is some kind of billionaire who wants to get in the privatized space race. But I guess also he was some kind of military contractor, and he was in
Kabul.
He was in the Middle East somewhere, dealing with people, and he got hit by a fucking missile.
And that's a fireable offense.
Yeah, well, not even fired, just he got kind of left there. Which, alright, but this is all kind of told. There's a flashback somewhere in the middle of the movie that's completely out of place, but all this is told in bits and pieces throughout the movie. So you don't have a coherent story about it till towards the end.
Yeah, there's a flashback to, like, a lone survivor sort of scenario. Yeah, but for the most part, it's just like
it's kind of like the start of Iron Man.
Post rock bottom.
Yeah, and basically his job, I guess, is to try and convince the King of Hawaii to bless the ground that they're moving.
Yeah, they're gonna move the tombstones and the bodies from this like Hawaiian graveyard so they can build a civilian bridge there, and then also they're launching a rocket into space.
Yeah,
It's not terribly clear.
no, it's not clear, and that's the thing. It's so complicated because it's so convoluted. With this movie there is just far too much going on. It's like Cameron Crowe had so many ideas, and someone was like, "This might be the last movie you ever make. Get it all on screen.
Do all of it.
Do all of it." Yeah, so he goes to Hawaii to do this, and he gets, I guess, set up with a military partner who's supposed to watch him, who is Emma Stone, and they start a romance. And once again, in the Cameron Crowe movies, I have this thing anymore that it's starting to hit my brain the older I get, that I guess I didn't notice it as much when I was younger that happens in movies, but it's like the leading man who is old enough to be the father of the leading lady. And it's getting to the point now where I notice it so much, and it's becoming, like, the age gap seems to be getting wider, and it's getting fucking creepier. Because I know Emma Stone is like 25, but she is also...
She's a young-looking 25. Plus,
Yeah.
like, in this movie, this guy's got what turns out to be a teenage daughter, because there's this whole Rachel McAdams thing we'll get into in a second. And the daughter has roughly the same size and frame as Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Because Emma Stone, she's I don't want to say spindly. She's
No, but she...
long-limbed and waifish, I guess, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, because she...
Gamine? No,
Yeah,
not it.
because it's not like she has the giant head and tiny skinny arms.
Yeah, she's
and-
just this big around, and it works for her frame, but it does make her look a lot younger than she is. And
Yeah.
here's Bradley Cooper making these goofy, like, dad faces, and, you know, we're supposed to buy them in a relationship. Meanwhile, it turns out on Hawaii,
I will
there's...
give them credit. They do have good chemistry together.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, it is still distractingly creepy.
Yeah. But Rachel McAdams is also on Hawaii, and they dated 13 years ago, and she's got a 12-year-old daughter. So you immediately go, okay, well, that's his kid. And she's dating John Krasinski, who I will admit stole this movie.
Yeah, he's in the movie.
Married to John
Yeah,
Krasinski.
he's in the movie for maybe 10 minutes, and I think he has 3 lines. But he does steal the movie. He is... The best part of the whole movie is the whole issue with John Krasinski, because there's this subplot with Rachel McAdams and John Krasinski. They don't communicate, or he doesn't communicate, so they're breaking up and they're having marital issues. And I guess Krasinski's worried about Bradley Cooper being there because he and his wife used to date and so on and so forth and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, he's the best part of the movie, easily, and he doesn't talk much, and that's the point, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at the end of the movie, the two guys have a cathartic moment where they have a conversation through body language, which is translated for us on the bottom of the screen. It's the best part of the movie, but it's so out of nowhere and weird and not fitting the tone of the rest of the movie that it's just like, why? Why? This whole movie is a big question mark.
Well, because, like, I mentioned earlier that every character is basically telling Bradley Cooper their emotions, and you think maybe John Krasinski's character is going to be the one character that doesn't do that, but it turns out that he's, like, using this non-verbal emoting language that only Bradley Cooper can understand, and he's using this language to tell Bradley Cooper in no uncertain terms what his problem is with him, why it doesn't affect him, having conversations about the daughter and how he knows that he's his daughter, and Bradley Cooper's like, yes, I know that she's my daughter, and I'm glad that you know, and then, like, they hug it out, man style. It's just, like, it's a strange subplot, and through almost the first 3/4 of the movie, you wonder if maybe Bradley Cooper and Rachel McAdams are going to end up together, and it hurts your heart. Like, because she's a really unlikable character, first of all, because it's basically like her and Bradley Cooper were going out together. They were like the love of each other's lives, and then they started squabbling because he was married to his job, and so she goes on a vacation, and she's like, if you don't go on this vacation with me, we're through. And Bradley Cooper's like, I'm not going on no vacation. So they break up, and she immediately takes up with John Krasinski.
Well,
Like,
I think there was a guy
day.
in between.
No, because one of the things that John Krasinski's character said was, I know that I went after her the second she became available. What of it? So yeah, immediately after because the daughter's 12, and they broke up 13 years ago. So in order for John Krasinski to even, like, be able to pretend to not realize that that girl is not his daughter, there has to be, like, within 3 months, they would have had to start dating.
Yeah.
So, I lost my train of thought. So yeah, she takes up with this man immediately after they break up, and then when her and John Krasinski have troubles, she, like, leaves the house and goes to Bradley Cooper. Like, doesn't even, like, sit in a chair for an hour to think about her life. Just like a jumping from relationship to relationship sort of person.
Yeah.
And it's like, woman, chill the fuck out for, like, a month and see if maybe he's got some extra thoughts he wants to get out of his brain before you leave him as a dead end.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily pick up on that, but that might not be that I disagree with you. It's just this movie was so confusing that there were parts where it's just like, I have to figure this out before I can deal with what's on screen now. It's just, I could...
We should address the whole supernatural subplot, because, like, Rachel McAdams has a son in addition to the daughter that's not actually John Krasinski's, which that ending. And so the son's got, like, the son's got a thing for Hawaiian folklore, and the whole movie he's telling the story about, like, what was he calling it? The Ascension or something?
Yeah.
About, like, a certain Hawaiian god's gonna come and have revenge sex with the Hawaiian goddess who's a volcano, and then they're gonna create a new island, and then the god's gonna turn to raindrops, and it's supposed to be, like, a metaphor for what's going on in Bradley Cooper's life right now.
But it's so bad and
really
forced.
Isn't either. Like,
yeah.
Maybe he has revenge sex, sort of, but
it...
And this whole sky aspect of it, because, like, he's in love. He used to be in love with the sky, but he lost his love for the sky when he joined the contractors. And Emma Stone's character is still in love with the sky, and everyone's talking about the sky. And then all of a sudden, Bill Murray's character's like, "Oh, by the way, we're shooting a rocket into space, and it's got bombs on it, secret bombs."
Secret bombs, breaking some worldwide treaty, but also breaking the agreement that Bradley Cooper had made with
the King of Hawaii.
The King of Hawaii, who I'm guessing it's some separatist movement of some kind.
Well, Hawaii used to be my understanding is Hawaii used to be a sovereign nation, so possibly it's like a...
Oh, I mean, yeah, so much of that. But, I mean, they had to vote to become a state, too. It's why Puerto Rico... I don't know, and it makes me ashamed that I don't know. But, I mean, there's so much going on with shit like that it's like... You can make a movie out of that. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't need to be a 2-minute, like, a subplot that's so, like, shoved in there that it's impossible to understand. Like, that's a movie on its own.
Yeah, well, because it's an interesting... it's an interesting subplot, but it seems like the main reason it was in this movie is so that there was a magic man to kind of put Bradley Cooper on the right course. Yeah,
instead of the magical Negro, we had a magical Pacific Islander. Who was, I guess, supposed to put him on his course, but he doesn't put him on his fucking course.
Well, he put him on his course in the sense that, like, Bradley Cooper swaggered in there all manly, like, "Hey, old friend, we are going to have a rapport instantly, and I'm going to talk you into this thing that I want." And Bumpy's like, no. "Hey, tiny Emma Stone, let's play some music over here."
Yeah, it's... This movie was a hot mess, and...
I agree.
I really don't... I wish I could go into more about it, because usually when there's a movie that I absolutely hate, I could rant about it for a while. But with this, it's just...
It was exhausting.
It really was. It was trying to play catch-up with the movie. And the movie was only an hour and 40 minutes long. You shouldn't spend the whole hour and 40 minutes trying to catch up with what's going on screen. You should be along for a ride. And there was no ride. It was like you were being dragged along and going, this happens now, and this happens now, but this happened then, and this happens now, and this happened then, and this is going to happen. Fucking... It's not that kind of movie. It doesn't need to be all over the place.
The main thing I can rant about is that I really disliked Bradley Cooper's character, and I think it's because he's so self-centered, and that's pet peeve of mine, but more so than that, the movie was self-centered for him. I mean, like most of the characters, yeah, they were basically there to tell him what his deal is. The female characters were there to either be interested in him or berate him so he could have an epiphany. And at the very end, after he finds out that girl is his daughter, what he does is he goes to her dance class. Now, she's been taking, like, hula dancing lessons. And so she's in kind of a dance studio, and it's in the corner of the street with, like, two windows.
Really weird.
And he, like, oh, wait 1 second, Emma Stone, while we're on this date, I need to go and stare meaningfully in this window at my daughter for a second. So he walks up to the window and is, like, staring in the window just straight at her. Super creepily. And she looks over.
All this girl really knows about this guy is, this is mom's old friend.
Yeah, but she knows because this movie is so centered around this guy that everyone knows what he knows. So she looks at him and they make eye contact and she kind of goes like, ha ha ha, and he goes, ha ha ha, and she just starts sobbing tears of happiness and runs outside and hugs him. Now, when I was 12, I had found out that my father was not my father and it was instead some schmo friend of my mom's, it would have broken my tiny, suddenly orphan heart. And I would not have hugged him, I would have punched him. Thoughts?
Yeah, just about the same. Like, it wouldn't be immediate hugs, you're the part of my life I've been missing. Like, motherfucker, I got a dad.
Yeah, I don't
he don't
know
talk
who the fuck
much.
You are. Maybe you kind of look like me, but...
He don't talk much, but he pays the fucking bills and feeds me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
how dare you?
Yeah, exactly. How fucking dare you, you prick? Like, in a lot of the Cameron Crowe movies, the main character will be a bit of a selfish prick, like Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire's a selfish prick who finds redemption. But at the same, like, even Jerry Maguire, it's like, man, you're really self-centered. He doesn't do shit that's just like, hey, guess what? Fuck everything. Like, well, he does do that, but...
Never seen Jerry Maguire?
You're not missing a whole lot.
Well, I've seen all the important bits, like, you had me at hello, and you show me the money.
Yeah,
He slides across the floor in his socks.
I got nothing else. This movie's not worth seeing. If you want to watch a Cameron Crowe movie, you could rent Jerry Maguire, but even that one, it, like, Say Anything, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and fuck it, watch We Bought a Zoo. Why not? It's the worst title for a movie in history.
I did enjoy your guys' theory that it would, like, show up as a subplot in this movie that Matt Damon still has a zoo.
Bullshitting. Yeah, Matt Damon, he still has a zoo, but fucking Scarlett Johansson has left him, and now he's just a drunk.
Just a sad drinking zoo owner.
And Jerry Maguire is, like, the lion at the zoo has become a celebrity, so Jerry Maguire is his fucking agent.
Just a bunch of sad, self-centered, aging white men having troubles, and all the women whose job it was to explain them their deal have left them. Cusack
has PSTD, and he's just walking around, shambling with fucking boombox over his head. It would have been a much more interesting.
It was my job to be with you. I'm unemployed now.
Exactly. Kickboxing didn't work out.
Turns out it doesn't have much staying power as a career.
He's all fucking punch drunk.
No, we can make this like the Pixar theory of a timeline. We'll figure it out somehow.
Oh, okay. Well,
this movie was terrible. I don't know how long we've been talking about it. Time has lost all meaning.
It doesn't matter anymore. Fuck
Usually
it. Go see Mad Max.
Car, like, we can open it every time the light turns off. It's about 10-15 minutes, and I can keep track of time that way. We've been talking about this for hours, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Mad Max. So every time I see a terrible movie, there's like a niggling thought in the back of my head, like, you could be watching Mad Max right now. You could watch it twice at this rate.
Oh, fuck it. Yeah, I got nothing else to say about this movie. It was terrible. It was terrible. It's
Final
not worth
thought,
seeing.
don't watch it.
No.
Watch the 10 minutes that have John Krasinski in it, because first of all, he's adorable, his comedic timing is amazing, the character is somewhat interesting, and dead-ass though, because he's wearing a flight suit for like the entire time. Ladies, and there's one scene where he's hugging from the back for like 10 minutes, I swear to Christ. Previews. Brian Wilson I wasn't in the room for.
It's like Peace and Happiness or something. It's a movie that's coming out. God, I think it's coming out in like a week or 2 weeks. It probably won't come to Springfield, but it's Paul Dano playing a young Brian Wilson and then John Cusack playing an older Brian Wilson.
Because you tried showing me that Bob Dylan movie, and I really didn't like it, and I worry that it's going to be similar.
I showed you clips. No, this looked like a straight biography movie.
Because I didn't like the whole like jumping around to stuff we find interesting. Like if I'm watching a biopic, I want to see it from beginning to end so I can follow this character on his journey through life.
Yeah, no, the Dylan, the I'm Not There is not a biopic. It was not meant to be a biopic. You can get bits of Dylan's life through it, but it's more about
actors jacking off into each other's mouths.
No, it's more about Dylan's presence and persona and how he's changed his persona as his career has developed. Mm-hmm. But that night, I think I had a couple drinks, and all I really wanted to do was listen to some of the songs in it. Because I'm Not There, like, you can argue its merits as a movie, because quite honestly, I can completely see why a lot of people would really dislike that movie. I liked it. And I thought the acting in it's phenomenal, but the best part of that movie is the entire soundtrack. Yes, it's just covers of Dylan songs, but there's not a bad cover on the entire. It's a double album, and it's great.
You can put on He's Not There.
I'm Not There.
I'm Not There all the live long day when you've had a few drinks, as long as I can put on Enchanted and Sweetie Todd when I've had a few drinks, because them's is the soundtracks I like to listen to. No Escape. I can't remember what movie that was.
That's a fucking Owen Wilson trying to get his family out of an Asian country that's, I guess, erupting into violence, and fucking James Bond is there to shoot people.
I was there for that preview. I wrote it on my arm, and I still am not.
I've seen
as you're describing it to me, I have no recollection.
Yeah, I've seen that preview a few times. It's not really sparking any interest in me whatsoever. So.
Mm-hmm. It was one of those disaster movies. Ant-Man, that still looks good.
Yeah.
I still enjoy, like, the Jedediah and Octavius, like, battle on the toy train where they're, like, having this big epic battle and it zooms out and the train's like, dip. That kind of humor I enjoy. Trainwreck. Ooh, that looks good. I'm just gonna say that for everything on my arm. Ooh, that looks good.
Oh, yeah, that's the new, the Amy Schumer and Judd Apatow movie. Yeah, we've talked about that a few times. Yeah, Bill Hader. We've talked about that a few times.
And it's an age-appropriate couple, too.
Yeah, no,
I have no problem with that.
Well, and, you know, Apatow's been really good about that, I think, in almost all his movies so far. But I think he has an interest in what happens with age-appropriate couples and so on and so forth. But I think the credit I think it was written by Amy Schumer, and I'm not a big fan of hers, but it's a good trailer.
Like, I don't watch her show, and for every clip of her show that I see, like, online that I think is pretty funny, there's another clip that I think is dumb as shit.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't actively dislike her like I do some comedians.
I'm not a fan, but it's not like
she's not like
I
Jesselnick
fucking hate you. It's just like, I don't need to watch this.
I don't know. I think I might still watch it. It looks interesting and looks sex positive, and the preview made me laugh a couple times.
The movie trailer looks good. I was speaking about her comedy. Oh, I do think the trailer looks good, and the movie might actually be really good. It might be terrible, but it's a good trailer. All right, what else?
Oh, Jen Kirkman's got a new comedy special on Netflix that we watched. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Spy, which I have dibs on, so you shouldn't have to worry about that one. It'd have to be me and probably Brad, since it's got Statham in it.
It's got Statham in it, but it's also Melissa McCarthy, so Irving and I might have to go too.
I doubt he'll send 4 of us to Spy.
He might, for the joke of it.
Keep your pessimism high, because that way you win either way. You either get to be right or not see Spy.
I'd rather not see Spy than be right.
Spectre?
Oh yeah, Bonds. Fuck. The 4th one with Daniel Craig.
You know what? I still haven't seen any of the Daniel Craig ones. I tried. God bless me, I tried, but it's not... It doesn't really... The part that I watched didn't feel like a Bond movie for me.
Which one?
I think it was the first one that was him.
Okay, it builds up to feeling like a Bond movie. Because it is kind of restarting. It's not a continuation of Bond. So like
I understand.
It's kind of the series reboot, but like the first 2 movies are kind of slow and kind of dark. Like the first movie, Casino Royale, I love because it's my first experience with James Bond was probably Connery, but then I read a couple of the books, and the first one is like a Bond book.
Have you ever read The Spy Who Loved Me?
No, I have not read that one.
I want to read it so bad because apparently it's from the point of view of like a woman, and it's Ian Fleming writing it.
Oh,
and he
God.
hates women, so apparently
Yeah.
it's somewhat unintentionally hilarious.
No, like Casino Royale is fantastic. Quantum of Solace is a bit of, it's definitely not the best. But the last one, Skyfall, was a great Bond movie. Mm-hmm. But it's like the thing is, it has a nice build to it. So they're movies worth watching. Like watch one, then the next one, and then the third one, like in the course of a couple nights. Mm-hmm. If you didn't really get into the first one, by the time you get to the third one, I think you'll appreciate the other two.
Okay. Again, I want to watch them. I do like the James Bond movies I've seen. I tend to like the campier ones. Might be part of my problem. But, you know, I do want to go see Spectre because it's got Christoph Waltz in it. It's got the guy who plays Moriarty in the Sherlock TV show. And I like both of them very, very much. And it looks interesting. I'm just worried I'll be lost if I don't watch the other three, and that's just time out of my day.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, you would like Skyfall because I think you would dig Moneypenny in it.
Who plays her?
She was in the trailer for the last one, the African American girl.
Okay.
That's Moneypenny.
Right.
And in Skyfall, Moneypenny is not just a secretary; she's an agent.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And at the end, she kind of retires from active duty.
I gotcha.
But she's an agent in it, and she does well.
I enjoy that. Sold? Ricky and the Flash, not sold.
Oh.
The first time I watched that preview,
It's Meryl Streep.
It seemed like passingly interesting. I mean, I feel like I've seen that movie before.
Yes. But this does have Rick Springfield in a supporting role as Meryl Streep's lover and guitar player.
Is that who that is?
That was Rick fucking Springfield.
I kept getting like a Tim Robbins vibe off
No,
of it.
that was Rick Springfield. He did start as an actor, so
He was doing a good job in the preview.
Ricky and the Flash. Mom's basically Stevie Nicks. Daughter gets her heart broken, goes home to help.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know how she figures on helping, but apparently she needed to for the purpose of the plot.
Yeah, it's it's a family reconciliation. Feel good.
Whether I go to that will be completely contingent on what else comes out that week.
I'll be quite honest.
Because that's going to be a
That seems like the kind of movie.
leftovers movie.
Well, it seems like a leftovers movie, and it also seems like the kind of movie that if it comes to Springfield, A, probably won't get a pre-screening, and B, it'll probably, that seems like something that's going to be not a wide release to start with.
Let's hope not.
All right, I'm fucking done. I'm tired.
It's so hot in this car, and I still feel like I'm looking into the sun. My pupils are probably pinpricks. Yep. Okay, bye guys!